1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome to Green Queens, the perfect podcast for imperfect environmentalists.
We have a really remarkable guest here, Judith Leary-Joyce. She is an author, the proud owner of a super efficient retrofitted Victorian eco-home, and as a consequence is somewhat of a celebrity in net zero circles, and she is affectionately known to her family as InstaGran. Today, she has amassed some 85,000 followers on Instagram, where she shares her, in your words, quirky green life and eco-renovation. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. Sounds marvellous to hear myself described like that.
I always find it's a funny thing when we sort of do an introduction to guests and they're sat there like, oh, stop it, it's embarrassing.
We should start doing that bit probably before the guest arrives, shouldn't we? We didn't mean to put you on the back foot, Judith, but no, we are huge fans of yours. We couldn't wait to get you on the podcast as honorary Green Queen. Welcome to the Green Queens podcast.
I do like the idea of being a Green Queen. Very good.
Yeah,
you are.
We need to start having t-shirts, I think.
Yes.
But I wonder if you could kick us off by telling us about the two videos that really catapulted you to Instagram fame.
Well, I did a TED talk and everybody at TED said, you've got to start doing reels on Instagram, because I was just half-heartedly doing posts that were going nowhere. And I couldn't think what to do. And we have a very interesting dishwasher in our house, only interesting because of its position. So I thought, well, I'll just film myself emptying the dishwasher. So I stuck up the tripod, put the phone on, emptied the dishwasher, did a voiceover, and 2 days later I was having supper with my grandson and my phone started going bing, 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 and it was going viral. So it's the fact that it's high up, so I can stand up and it's level with me. And this was the first one, so that went to 5 million views.
Casual.
Yeah.
We can only dream of that right now.
No. Well, that's nothing, darling, until we have a counterweight stair that my husband designed about 35 years ago on the back of an envelope. And he got a carpenter to make it, he got it put up on the ceiling, and then he worked out the weights with bags of sand. So when you push it up, it stays where it is. When you pull it down, it stays where it is. So I thought, well, if they like the dishwasher, they might like the stairs. So I again stuck it on a tripod, went up there with my grandson, and we came down the stairs. One of those films has gone to 15 million. We did one of us going up the other way, and that's gone to 15 million. And it just goes on. Every time I do it from a different direction, it goes to a few more million.
I mean, BBC One could learn a thing or two from you, Judith, I think, with those sorts of views. Amazing. I feel like you need to go into a little bit more detail as to what that staircase actually is. And if anybody is desperate to see it, please go to Judith's Instagram and check it out, because it is really impressive. But counterweight stairs, explain what that is and why on earth you decided to do it.
Well, John saw it in a flour mill when we were going around a flour mill with the kids. And they do it so that they don't have to have this stair down in the way all the time. Okay. So they can just shove it up and the weights come down and they hold it in position. So if it was cantilever, it'd go back up on its own, but this just only does what you tell it.
Into like a loft conversion, is it?
Well, yes, it just goes up to a room in the loft, which you know well. But we used to use it as an office. So getting up one of those rickety ladders was very difficult. So this is actually a full staircase, the width of the landing that just sits upon the ceiling until we pull it down. You'll have to look at the film. It's very difficult to describe, really.
But
head
Abby,
to Judith's Instagram.
Something that will make this bit clearer in your mind. We were recently on a hen do.
Yeah, we were.
It was British themed, it was fabulous. But during the day we did an assault course, and you know when you walk over the thing and at a certain point it just tips down?
Yeah.
That's sort of the vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think what's really interesting, your dishwasher at waist height so that you're not having to bend into it, the space-saving staircase, it really demonstrates that you are deeply practical, but also have an ability to think about things in a slightly different way, which I suppose is what brings us on to what occupies a lot of your time now, which is your retrofitted home. Can you tell us what that means and why you did it?
Okay. I think in terms of full transparency here, I should be clear, I do not have that sort of mind. It's my husband. husbands do these things. I'm just good at telling everybody about them. So, he designs them all. So we did the retrofit. Anybody that lives in a Victorian home will know that they're really leaky buckets, aren't they? It was freezing cold and just really drafty and bitter. And we decided that we wanted to put an extension on the back. But John wanted to make it open plan. I said, I'm not doing that because I've been bothered about the environment since the early 70s. So I don't want anything that's going to increase our energy consumption. It's not good for the bank account. It's not good for the environment. So the compromise was an eco-architect. But he said very famously, this bit's all right for an air source heat pump. The rest of your house is very leaky, but it'll be good enough. I mean, who wants to do all that just to end up good enough? So we decided, actually, we would make this house a legacy for the future. So we wanted to live in it so that it was light on the earth, and that whoever bought it when we've popped our clogs, that they would also live lightly on the earth. And that was the driver, really. It's the grandchildren. It's all you young things and the grandchildren. That's what bothers me. I want you to have a world.
And sorry.
I was just going to ask, you said about the fact that you've been into the environment and passionate about the environment and very much living with that mindset since the 70s.
Yeah.
What was the initial thing that kicked it off for you?
I absolutely can't remember. It's so long ago. But I think Friends of the Earth was starting, Greenpeace was starting. We were trying to save the whales. Whales were being slaughtered all over the place. Just looking into everything. The rainforests were then first being chopped down. So that was all starting to be talked about, and it just absolutely rang for me, and I just couldn't not do something. And so I've been doing as much as I can ever since.
And you've written a book, which is here. How much do you wish you had this when you first started?
Well, that's why I wrote it. It's the book I wanted. I kept searching for Idiot's Guide. There was nothing for us. And
you called it beginners as opposed to idiots.
Yes, well, I was
a little bit more inclusive.
Yeah, so it was exactly the book we wanted. So I've written it for homeowners. It's a little bit technical, but not much, because it had to be what I could understand. So I had an eco-architect mentor me. I'd spend ages talking with her, and then I would translate that into ordinary speak, and she would make sure that I'd got it right. But it gives just the flow of what retrofit means and all the language. Because if you just find the right word, everything's there on the internet. You've just got to get the right word. So I just wanted this to be easy, because you had to be as determined as I was about this to do it. We could easily have given up, and I didn't want other people to have to be that determined.
That's so interesting, because so often it comes down to these people who are so fiercely passionate and committed to make it easier for anyone who's doing it with perhaps slightly less oomph or so. But we fast forward to today, and your retrofit is complete. You live in this beautifully, very, very comfortable, lovely temperature home that costs barely anything to run. I wonder if you could share with us the outcomes of your retrofit.
The biggest thing is the kilowatt hours. That surprised us, and we still periodically check because we can't believe it's true. We hoped for a 50% reduction in use of kilowatt hours, and we did that rather than money, because we were at the point where the bills were rocketing, so it was no suitable comparison. So before we did anything on the house, we were using 25,500 kilowatt hours a year. And after doing the work in a year, so we've got data, we were using, the first year it was 5,890. That's 75% less.
That's got a round of
Audience
applause.
is clapping.
Thank you. It was astonishing. EPC's gone from a D to a B, and we're told the house is worth at least 90,000 more than its equivalent house without a retrofit.
And what steps have you taken then to get it from 25 to 5?
So we've made it as airtight as we could, as we knew to do. We've been retrofitting that bit of the retrofit where we can. We've got 100 mil of insulation throughout. We've got ventilation in each room. We've got single room heat recovery ventilation units, an air source heat pump, and we've now got 18 solar panels.
God. And I have to say, I had the privilege of visiting your home. It is beautiful as well. And not least because so often you go into a Victorian home, we live in one, and they're chilly. You don't want to take your jumper off, but you can swan about like you're in the Bahamas.
I know. Yeah. I know, it's wonderful, isn't it? And it's a different sort of heat. I've got one friend who, whenever she comes in, she says, this house is different. Why is this so different? I think it's because the heat pump heats the air, then it heats the fabric of the house, which then radiates back into the house, and it just maintains itself. It's wonderful.
You mentioned earlier that one of the reasons you did it was for your grandkids, for younger generations, for perhaps people that are maybe looking at buying a property for the first time. What would your advice be to them, and what sorts of things should they be looking out for? Are you very pro new build? Would you encourage other people to buy older properties and to try and undertake something like this?
I'd love to be pro new build, but there's a lot of the time they're built so badly. And one of the things that is often missed is the ventilation. So they insulate them, but they don't ventilate, so you end up living in a hot, sweaty box, and then you get condensation and mold. So if they're built properly, and if they're built to proper zero carbon measures, brilliant. If you can get to a passive house, wonderful. Then there's no energy bills. I've got some friends in a passive house, and they get paid £250 a month from the grid. So
Oh my
they don't
word.
pay anything.
Are they
themselves.
interested in selling that property?
Or giving us that £250 to sponsor this podcast.
I know.
Looking.
I
We're in
know,
the
it's
market.
amazing. So yes, when new builds are done properly, they're wonderful. But if you like older houses, I mean, our house is proof that you can do it. And let's be honest, we didn't know what we were doing. There are some things we could have done a lot better.
Like?
We could have made it more airtight. We didn't really understand airtightness at the time.
And for somebody that might have absolutely no idea, what difference will that make?
Well, you put like an airtight membrane around the whole house. It's like putting on your wind jacket when you go out for a walk, and it's taking out all of the uncontrolled air, which is fine as long as you put controlled air back in. But it means you're cutting all the drafts. There's no drafts at all. And if you put in insulation without it being airtight, you're likely to be a bit disappointed, because there will still be, however hard you try, there's still going to be some gaps coming through the insulation. So if you've got the airtightness membrane, you will have no extraneous air, is that the word? Nothing coming in that you don't want. We would have done that better, I think.
Now, I hope this is okay to say, but you are north of 50.
Far north. Far north.
I definitely thought that was going to be a swear.
Yeah.
Well, it was, could easily have been.
Well, we're north of 50, and we'll go with that. And one of the things that you've said is that it's really critical to communicate these things clearly. You didn't find it necessarily easy. You found that you needed to act as a translator to anyone who's doing this as well. The other thing is that we know that people north of 50 tend to have more savings and less mortgage payments as well. And so they are most empowered to make some of these changes to their properties for the benefit of future generations. And yet we also hear things from people of a particular age demographic of, oh, well, I'm not going to see the payback period. How do you think we should be talking to older generations, and how can we encourage them to make these switches?
Well, as a boomer, let's be honest, mid-70s and a boomer, I have been one of the fortunate ones. So I bought my first house for £8,500. I mean, that was a lot of money in those days, but nonetheless, we see how far that it's gone. So I think we have been fortunate. And we've also lived through a time when energy was cheap. So if the house got cold, you just whack the heating up and you're okay. But we can't do that anymore, neither should we. So I do think we have a responsibility that if we're working on our houses, we do it in a way that makes the house sustainable, and then young people buying that house are getting a much better deal. They're going to have the low energy bills. It will make the house more expensive, so it depends where you live. But absolutely, I think somebody looks as if she's similar to me, ish, beg your pardon, probably nowhere near. But I do think we have a responsibility to do this for the young kids. And it's a great way to do it, actually, because we're not sacrificing anything, we're not giving anything away. We're getting all the benefits while we're alive. We just know we're passing on something useful.
Do you find that people of your generation do have maybe a little bit more patience for taking the time to learn something and a little bit more passion to just hone a craft, mend something, figure out how to change a light bulb without having to call an electrician, and people of a younger generation are perhaps not quite so patient with that sort of thing?
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming on the podcast, Judith.
I think there's something about, says my husband back there now, John will not throw anything away before he's tried really hard to mend it. We don't waste any food, everything has to be used. And I do think there's something about having grown up with parents who lived through the war, so we're the post-war babies. And everything had to be used. There just wasn't the choice.
I'm very curious then, with husband standing by, what do you think is the oldest, most useless thing that you are hanging on to for dear life in sheer desperation that it will be put to some sort of use?
Oh, goodness.
There's got to be some old skirting
My mind
board.
is going round our loft. You know what that's like. Oh, all sorts of weird and wonderful dressing up clothes, old hats, top hats, Rio Carnival costumes.
Oh, Judith, you should have worn that.
That should have been the dress code today, goodness.
Yes, I can't think of what would it. This shed is full of screws. You know that you see these films on Instagram of somebody saying, I know the piece of wood you want, I've got it. That's John, he's got it.
But beyond looking at your home, sustainability is something that just trickles its way in every aspect of your life. And you've done some quite innovative things with your wardrobe. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I decided that I would take fashion as my next challenge. I think with all this green, you can't do it all at once. You've got to go one at a time, get it under your belt, then go on to the next thing. So fashion was my next thing. And I found a sustainable fashionista to come and sort my wardrobe out. It was like a dose of salt. I'd already cleared out 3 bags full. She cleared out 4 more bags fulls of clothes.
Oh my goodness.
That have gone off to go to women who need them to go for a job interview or to be sold or whatever. So now I won't buy anything new unless it's, like undies and socks, that sort of thing. But apart from that, so witness.
Well, I really enjoy on your social media, you'll say, scarf worn 200 times, jeans worn 5 times, but I intend to have them for a really long time, or whatever it may be. It's really cool.
And then there were the embarrassing ones. The best one was the most beautiful in my days of business and needing to look really smart, a fabulous Armani jacket, never worn. How embarrassing is that?
Does it need a new owner? Because I could take it off your hands, Judith, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, I'll send it with the house. And
Thanks. I'm really intrigued. Just you mentioned there your days working in business, so this hasn't always been your job.
No, this is a complete change. I started off as a teacher, I was a social worker, I was a psychotherapist for 20 years, set up a psychotherapy training centre, and then worked in business in leadership and management development for 20 years. And I've always done these big leaps. One of them was from hating cooking, going through to nouvelle cuisine, and just that's what I do. And the family say, what's it going to be next? My eldest daughter thought it might be embroidery. I never thought that, really.
Embroidery, no, you're love the embroidery idea, but I'm just going to go be Insta famous.
Yes, well, yes, and installation, queen of installation. I mean, whoever thought that would be it?
You do have an encyclopedic knowledge of insulation, and some really cool things like insulation made from recycled denim and stuff like that.
That's my favourite. There's a wonderful one. It's called, its brand name is Pava Textile, and it's made with old denim jeans, cotton t-shirts and velvet. Where is all the velvet coming from? That's what I want to know. It's fabulous though. We've got that over the bathroom ceiling and it's lovely. And of course, none of these sustainable ones require the builders to put protective clothing on. It's not going to do them any harm at all.
Yeah.
Marvellous.
No asbestos here, certainly.
Oh, yes. And PIR, which is my bête noire. Yes.
So you did have you worked in sort of leadership coaching, and you've written quite a number of books on that subject as well.
Yes.
And so there are plenty of business owners, some of them will be in this room, some of them will not have any interest in the environment whatsoever. And I wonder, given that you really know some of these mindsets, what's needed to help them take notice and to instigate positive changes within their business in terms of the environment?
There's some sort of mindset change that needs to take place. It's like a little switch in the brain that's got to click. And I sometimes look at all this terrible news of the floods and the fires, think, how come the switch hasn't gone yet? How come people aren't seeing? Oh, it's so distressing that people don't seem to be connecting. And I think here in the UK, we're relatively fortunate. I know there's some areas that are really struggling and it's terrible. But I think we're coming off easily at the moment. So I think people need to see that it's going to come. It is going to happen. And even if it doesn't happen to us, as much as we see in like California or parts of Africa, people are going to have to come here because there's nowhere else to live. So we're all going to be affected. And we just got to start putting ourselves into other people's shoes. I think that empathy is the thing that will make the switch.
Yeah.
And as long as you can really switch on your empathy, then you will see this is not acceptable. When I think of my little grandkid, he's been here all morning loving the Lego, but his world is going to be a dangerous place. And can I honestly sleep well at night if I think I wasn't doing everything possible? And if people have got businesses, then there are things they can do in their business, but they've also got a lot of influence of the people in their businesses. So they can make a big difference.
If only they were all like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Is
also,
the take home.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
I think also, you know, not only are you the ultimate grandparent in really considering the future for your grandchildren, but I also just want to share with the audience, and I think I'm right in saying this, that throughout lockdown, you committed to watching the entire set of Marvel films for the sake of spending time with your grandchild. He does not know how lucky he is.
I did. I started to learn to play Minecraft first. That was awful. He would say to me, just go over there, Granny, and dig. And generally I was digging sand or mud, you know, but I tried. And then we were not locked down together. So I spoke to him on the phone and I said, look, I think you need to introduce me to Marvel. So we would have a set time, Friday evening, 5 o'clock. We'd have, what's it called? FaceTime. On, and we'd start the film, he'd count us down. I think it was more fun doing the countdown, really. The 3, 2, 1, go. Oh. And so I'd know Marvel with an echo. But we still do it. So I was 13 then, he's now 17. And still every Saturday evening now we have film night. So he's training his palate on curry. We make curry. I'm training him on the beer. And we watch movies.
Oh, can I get in on this? I want to spend my Saturday nights watching
You better
Marvel
move in
films.
with us, Abby.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Armani jackets, Marvel movies, what was
She's my granddad. I also have just one question. Do you ever have a holiday, Judith? Because it seems like you never stop.
Oh, well, yes, that is an issue at the moment. Yes, we are actually going away in a few weeks, to just get a week away.
And no doubt you'll be going, oh, that installation could do with a bit of
Oh,
work.
well, you walk round the roads and you think, oh, look, dear me, they've covered up their air bricks there. And they've got a non-breathable render on that house. That's going to be trouble.
What a hoot that holiday sounds.
But we won't fly.
No.
So if we go abroad, we'll go on the train to Europe or we'll stay here. But I've done my flying. I won't fly anymore.
Well, we might need to pick your brains on that.
Yeah, we've got a very ambitious plan in the pipeline.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're trying to get to a destination wedding in Portugal in the lowest carbon way possible.
Oh, brilliant. So that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. We haven't been to Portugal. Our longest one was London to Athens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we went all through Eastern Europe. And you just need to make the journey part of the event.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Yeah, we took 9 days. It was fabulous.
Okay. We
Yeah.
might need a bit more annual leave, though,
Yeah.
might we?
We're coming towards the end. Should we trial our new question?
We have been ending every single interview on Green Queens with the same question to all of our guests, but it has been throwing them off something chronic. And so we have had a little
forward to
chin
this.
wag. No, don't worry. We've rebranded the question. We're going to go with, I think, we'll see how this one
Yeah.
goes. I would like to know the last decision that you made that was a sustainable one. So the last thing you did, was it that you got the bus here? Was it that you had a coffee in a refillable cup? Was it that you
Oh.
retrofitted your house?
I went and walked up and down outside trying to find some lunch that wasn't packed in plastic. I did all right, but not great by my own standards. So I went to get the bowl of, can't think what it's called, the rice and all the
Oh,
vegetables.
poke bowl, yeah.
Yes, that's it. And she started to put the plastic lid on. No, I'll have it without the plastic lid. And I was thirsty coming in, and I wouldn't get a drink because I'd have to buy it in a bottle. And I was so pleased to find that there were water fountains, but I won't buy a bottle of water.
I mean,
So-
you are an eco queen, so you're making every decision with the environment in
Yeah.
mind. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, that there aren't many options
It's awful.
when you're on the move
Yes.
to do it in a plastic-free way.
It's awful. And having realised I'd forgotten my water bottle and that I'd need to get some lunch, I was really on the train. I was going, how am I going to manage this? How will I do this? Worst case scenario, hungry. I won't do. I just won't do it.
You're like,
Won't do
I mean, I
it.
feel like your house is probably offset enough emissions for a plastic sandwich wrapper, but
Yes.
you're like, nah, we'll starve.
Yeah, you're right.
On the food subject, I just also have to share that when we visited your home, you were like, "Didn't we want lunch?" You're like, "Oh, yes, actually we do." You just made some hummus on the spot because you're like, "I'm not buying it in a plastic tub; it's got unreasonable," and then just made some soda bread. It was, and then made some soup from some leftovers. It was remarkable and delicious.
You sound so amazed at making soup.
Honestly, Abby will be able to attest to this as well.
Yeah.
On shoots, you don't always get fed, and
Oh, I
so
see.
being given a slice of bread and some hummus,
Well, and especially homemade. But I saw this on Instagram earlier, so I screenshotted it. This is from the House Beautiful Instagram account, and it said, "People with grandma hobbies have better mental health, experts say." And I thought that's very apt, considering we are interviewing InstaGran herself. How's your
Thank you
mental
very
health,
much.
Judith?
Oh, it's brilliant. Brilliant, of course.
You're an idol and a queen, and it has been so lovely to have you on the Green Queens
Pleasure.
podcast.
Thank you for asking me.
well, that's probably all that we have time for in this particular episode. Thank you so much for giving up your Thursday afternoon in the lovely London Excel, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Green Queens. If you did and you'd like to hear more, we'd be so very grateful if you could like, subscribe and join the Green group chat for weekly episodes.